I support women. I heal trauma, make breakthroughs, and get you guaranteed results. If you have a problem, facing a challenge right now, and you need help with that, the link is down below to 30 Days to Thrive. I am on to share a quickie with you. Notice the title description. Worry, fear. Fear changes to anxiety when you keep churning the shit over and over and not talking to anybody. Anxiety, and I experienced that for decades. Anxiety leads to depression when you are not talking to anybody about it. The problem with women is that they worry about what they cannot see. They worry about what they cannot fix. I shouldn't even be saying they, because I'm on the same journey, but I learned this, which is why I am sharing it. When there is something that you cannot change, leave it alone, cut it off, turn your back on it, shut the door, shut your ears, and forget it. I was going to say work on forgetting it, just forget it. If you know there is something you cannot change, leave it alone. You cannot change people. That's one thing. The only person that you can change is yourself. If you see that you are in a situation that is difficult, you cannot change the person. You must decide to change the way you think about the situation, not the person. Forget about the person. The person is incidental. Because people only change when they have a real good reason to change. And it has nothing to do with getting a wife, a woman, a fuck buddy, etc. No. It has to be more serious than that. Listen, you have a disease, you've been putting off taking care of yourself, and you finally went to the doctor. And they tell you that you have 6 months to live. Hello, Corinne Ann. That encourages people to change. The majority of people are not like that. You must focus on changing how you think about the situation. When you change how you think about the situation changes. Because you are looking at it with a different perspective, with new eyes. Ladies, I cannot overemphasize this enough. Because you see what I realized? You see this thing about depression, and going a step back, anxiety, and going a step back, fear, and going a step back, worry. You are worrying about something you cannot change and you cannot fix, and you don't know how to fix it. The problem is that when we get into a worrying state, worrying about something, you don't call it worry, you're just thinking about it over and over, and I wonder if he could, and I wonder if she could, and I wonder how I could, and oh gosh, and why are they, and why is she, and how can it be, and all of that nonsense. And it is nonsense, huh? You get into such a space that it kind of goes underground and behind, so you go on living your life and doing what you need to do, but that wheel is still churning and turning in the background. And things start to happen, and you start to make stupid connections, and I mean stupid connections, because of this worry that you are worrying, and you no longer are conscious. You don't even realize that you're still worrying about that same thing, and something else happens. So that adds another burden, and you add it to the other thing that you were worrying about that you never acknowledged. You never spoke to anybody about it. You never talked to anybody about it. You never raised the issue with anybody, not even the person who is a problem or the person whose action is a problem. And so, what then happens? You're dealing with someone and you get triggered. Many women don't even recognize when they are triggered. This is another problem. And so, that original thing that you were fussing about, let's call it fussing, and that second incident, whatever it was, added to the first, and then somebody triggered you because you felt disrespected, and it's usually a situation of disrespect with women. The damn problem is that women do not acknowledge when they feel hurt. Women are disrespected every single day. Every day. Every woman could tell you that. And it hurts. I heard Michelle Obama talking about it. And she is not immune, as she said in her own words. It hurts. So what do? You then go ahead and add that hurt to whatever triggered you, to the previous thing you're worrying about, to the previous thing that you were just fussing over because. And it begins to add up. And then it becomes a snowball that's never going to melt in hell. And it sits there, and suddenly you start having palpitations, constipation, high blood pressure for no reason. And you tell the doctor, because you finally went, I'm not stressed, so he would just, and tell you some shit. Because the next thing is, on top of these things, these burdens that women assume because you feel that you have to do it. Doctors, I was going to say most, but doctors are changing. But still, the majority will dismiss you and say, well, there's nothing wrong with you, because the majority of doctors today do not treat women. They try to treat your symptom, right? The headache. They give you a pill for the headache. Well, I'm not sleeping. They give you a sleeping aid. Well, I'm sleeping and I'm feeling constipated, so they give you something for constipation. Most doctors do not treat the whole body. They do not sit you down and ask you, okay, is there something you're worrying about? And what's on your mind right now? And how is life going? And what is your diet? And do you get any exercise? And it's through these questions that the answers come out, which will give them a clue to what is really happening inside. Most doctors don't do that, which is why decades ago I opted, when I went to a doctor, for natural doctors, naturopaths, medical doctors who are naturopaths, Chinese acupuncture, and so on. And then natural therapies, because I learned my own body. Most women don't do that. The point I want to make here is this. Most women are not aware of what they are worrying about, because they start lumping every damn thing into one and adding it like layers, one on top of the other, and one on top of the other, until, like a snowball. If you all have any questions, drop your question in. Don't give me a story. If there's something you want to know, I can give you a channeled response. Drop in your question. Okay? Gwyneth King, wonderful, because I sent you an email to say that Zoom was not working for some weird reason. If you friend me on Messenger, I sent you an email message to tell you the times that you can call me on Messenger. today and tomorrow, Gwyneth. So go read that email, okay? I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. Zoom is doing weird things. All right there? Excellent. Ladies, I'm really, really very serious. Because, in fact, let me tell you my brief visit to my psychoanalyst when I was in my suicidal depression. Number one, I didn't know what the hell was going on. Number two, you know what she told me? After she listened to me, she said for the first month, without making any comment, she realized from my history that I had been a functioning depressive for decades. That's one. Number two, what she was able to identify is that I was just on the edge of hospitalization. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being, no, you're all right, just get some sleep, take a cup of chamomile tea, I was at a 9 and ready for hospitalization. I was just on the edge. That's 2. Number 3, I could not identify what was wrong. This is huge because everything was stacked one on top of the other. So during that year with her, and now I can honestly say, it does not take a year to deal with this kind of shit. Guaranteed. Because I have been doing this work now. But I didn't know about that back then. She was able to identify, because what she told me, oh yeah, let me add number 4. She said, if it wasn't for my anger, my rage, that fueled me always from my abusive years growing up. She said, if it wasn't for that, I would have been a prostitute. I could have been dead or in jail. One of those 3 options. Because it was my rage that was fueling me all those years. So then she was able to dig a tunnel underneath from all that I said during those months and identify that it was my abusive years. And then every time I was triggered by people in the office who disrespected me, not just I felt, who disrespected me and tried belittling me, and I fought it like 10 dervishes. Though all of those things, I was living all of those things on top of the pain of the abusive years that was never resolved. Abuse is a terrible, terrible thing when you don't share it with other people. I am going to end by saying this, since no one has asked any question. I am a channel, so I can channel you information. All right? But like I said, I do not want a story. Don't give me, well, this happened to me and this happened to me and this happened to me. Ask a clear question about an issue that you have right now and you will get an answer. This is guaranteed. If it is a long-standing something that you want to deal with now, 30 Days for Thrive, the link is down below. You all can go visit and see what it's all about. I'm going to end by saying this. Ladies, stop hiding. Stop fucking faking. When you're feeling shitty, admit it. When you are feeling hurt, admit it. When you have something on your mind, admit it. When you feel disrespected by someone in the office or at home or by a friend, say it. Speak it. And most importantly, hold on, Corinne. And most importantly, when you are having these anxiety problems, Rose, Paris, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what that means. And I don't want a story that is an entire story. Okay? I don't know what that means. Ask a question that is clear and short. 5 words. Ladies, when you go to a doctor and they tell you that you're perfectly fine, they cannot explain why you are having heart palpitations. They will give you something for your constipation. They ask you if you're worrying about something, and you'll probably lie and say no. But it's true that sometimes you don't know what you're worrying about because you're taking on everything. You need to start journaling. You need to start writing. Just write down every day what happened in your day. Or write down every day what is on your mind. And especially before you go to sleep, write down everything that happened in your day. And that stuff that you're thinking about before you go to bed, don't go to bed with it. Write it down in a book or on a piece of paper. Because what you are doing is you are getting it out of here. It could be as simple as, I don't know how I am going to pay that bill that just came or that I know is coming. It could be as simple as that. Or, what can I do about this man who is harassing me? Report him. That's what the police is for. The police officer is not going to dismiss you because too many women are being killed or abused by things that begin that simply. Stop feeling self-conscious about things that are bothering you. They are bothering you for a reason, because your intuition is trying to tell you something that you are ignoring. Start listening to your intuition. Rose Paris, why does abuse repeat itself? This is easy to answer. Abuse repeats itself because you never dealt with it in the first place. You may have reported the person, but you did not go to counseling. Consequently, if you were in an abusive relationship and you left it, you never dealt with it. 1, you never dealt with your part in it. 2, because it always takes 2 to tango. And what I mean by that is, that's not blaming, That is saying that you notice things and you let them slide. You started reacting instead of dealing with it and walking away. 3, the abuse was already part of your life from growing up or from a previous experience. And because you thought, okay, I grew up like that, you didn't deal with it. You thought, okay, I left that relationship, but you didn't deal with it. And when I say deal with it, I mean go for counseling or therapy in order to understand what in you attracted it. And what attracted it, I can tell you right now. It is simply because you are acting in exactly the same way that attracted that motherfucker in the first place. And so, when you are attracted to another person, it's that same pattern that is going to repeat itself. Because something in you recognizes the beast in that person, but you don't see it like that. What you are seeing and feeling is a familiarity. Unfortunately, that familiarity is trying to tell you, girl, run. Because you already know about abusive relationships And that is what is calling you and attracting you to that person. And I read something recently by this very well-known, therapist. She's huge. I can't remember her name. You know what she said? She was being interviewed by Lisa Bilyeu, Bilyeu. And she said, as soon as you feel attracted or feel a little bit in love with someone, run. Because it is the emotional abuse that is attracting you to the person. That is why therapy, counseling, to go back and identify where it first began in your life is so important. All right, Rose Paris, I hope that answered you. Okay. Corinne Ann, of course you can have your house cleared of negativity. This is easy. Corinne Ann, there is one person who I absolutely trust to do this, and you can contact her. Her name is, she has a website, and she's fantastic and powerful. Her name is Raven like the raven bird, Many Voices. Many Voices, one word. Okay? This is easy. I don't do it because that's not my sphere. Joanne Harrison, hello. Let me plug in my phone because I didn't really plan to stay on so long. Hold on, people. Okay, let me see now. Ooh. Oh wow. I think the phone is gonna die. I didn't realize, ladies, that it was that the battery was low. I apologize. All right, you're welcome, Corinne. Joanne Harrison, hello. Corinne, this is easy to do. Find Raven Many Voices. She has a Facebook page, but it's really not based. It's based on other things. Find her on the internet.